Welcome everybody to the Power Up tutorial. This is the fifth instalment of the Power Up tutorial series. And today's session is about emergency social media. Our goal with the Power Up tutorial series is to provide tourism businesses in the Northern Territory a space to upskill as we unpack topics that have an ongoing relevance for your business. These weekly webinars are brought to you by the Business Enterprise Development Team. Stephen Miles from Tourism Top End and myself, Anna Dakin from Tourism Central Australia, will be your hosts. The series is structured around the Business Enterprise Development Programme's 9-pillar model, which is a tool to help businesses identify their maturity in a range of areas necessary to running a successful business. Stephen and I are really keen to get you acquainted with the programme, so if you'd like to know more about it, you can drop us a line after the webinar to arrange a one-on-one session. We'll share our contact details at the end of the tutorial. We do have a little bit of housekeeping. So today's webinar will consist of a 30 to 45 minute presentation followed by a 15-minute Q&A. If you do have any questions for Mia during her talk, please write them in the chat area and we'll try to answer them during the Q&A session. Today's session is about how to use social media now as a marketing tool to maximize your business's online presence and get more exposure and hopefully more business. Our speaker today is Mia Fileman, founder of IDYellow, an expert marketing strategist. Unfortunately, Mia's partner, Lana Patel, who was scheduled to join us today, can't be with us due to an urgent family matter. Welcome, Mia. We're really looking forward to hearing from you and getting to know a little bit about your social media expert insights. So Mia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anna and Stephen, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today. I want to dive right in because we have a lot of ground to cover today. So I'm just going to go and share my screen. And I'll ask the question that every Zoom presenter has asked over the last 2 months. Can everyone see my screen? Yes. Okie dokie. So just thank you for that introduction, Anna. I'll just elaborate a little bit on my experience. I'm a career marketer. I've spent 16 years in the marketing profession, both as a brand manager for global fast-moving consumer good companies, but I've also run my own marketing agency for 7 years, 5 of which I did in the glorious Northern Territory. I consider Darwin home. We are a military family. We've been posted to Newcastle, New South Wales for 2 years. But at the end of this posting, very much looking forward to coming home to Darwin. And I now operate IDYellow with my business partner and best friend, Alana Patel. And you can read a bit more about Lana in the presentation, which will be provided to all of you at the end of this webinar. But we're very experienced marketing professionals with a background in tourism marketing. And as Anna said, we are social media strategists. Today, we're going to be covering DIY your marketing. And this is something that's really close to our hearts. This is what we do at IDYellow, is we teach brands to DIY their marketing. And I want to start off by saying that you can DIY your marketing because you have come face to face with your customers like nobody else in your business. So you know what your customers want. You know how to talk to your customers because you do it every day while you're operating tours or serving them. And so no one understands your business as well as you do. And I know I shouldn't say this because I'm a marketer, but we're not saving lives. It's marketing. You can absolutely do it. So I wanted to preface that I hope by the end of today that you have the confidence to tackle your own marketing. And I also want you to take away that marketing doesn't need to be all-consuming. And I realize that there is a lot of advice out there that tells you that it should be and that you should be doing all the things. But our core ethos here at IDYellow is that all your marketing should be purpose-driven. And then that way, if it's all purposeful, you're not falling into the trap of praying and spraying, which is one of my absolute pet hates. So I will show you how you can approach that so it doesn't have to take over your life. The topics that we're going to cover today is setting up your social media, some algorithm trends, content planning and posting, some of my favorite DIY content creation apps that you can use on a shoestring budget, figuring out what this hashtag nonsense is all about, the difference between a Facebook page versus a group and which one would be right for your business, a little bit of a top line into paid social media advertising, and then influencer / collaboration marketing. So we'll dive right in. The first thing when it comes to setting up your social media accounts that I want you to take away is that there is absolutely no benefit in setting up your account as a personal account. Yes, 5-10 years ago, there was some algorithm benefits to having a personal account. Now that has gone. So you want to set up your account as a business account. Otherwise, you're missing out on connecting your Instagram and your Facebook accounts, which is important. You're also missing out on analytics, which is really, really important. So you want to be able to see what time your fans are online so that you can figure out the best time to post. You want to be able to see which are your best performing posts so that you can create more posts based on that insight. And you also want to be able to run ads, which you won't be able to do from a personal account. Then, the other thing when it comes to setting up your social media accounts that I need you to know is that you don't need to be everywhere. In fact, you shouldn't. If you try to be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat, you are going to end up over relying on social media because that's all you're going to have time to do, right? When you're managing 5 social media channels, you're going to fall into this trap of social media slavery, which I see a lot of. And then everything that you do in your marketing is social media related, and that is not a good strategy. And that's because social media is a very important platform and it's a very powerful platform, but it's not the only platform that you should be using. And also, social media is essentially a paid channel, and you don't own your followers, whereas you do own your email list, you own your website, and you want to make sure that you have some control of your marketing. Whereas every time Facebook and Instagram decide they're going to have an algorithm change, that's going to throw your strategy out the window. So how do you know which are the right channels for you? And that is really driven by your audience. Do you have corporate audience? Are they essentially business travelers coming for a conference or a seminar? Then you're going to want to be on LinkedIn. Do you create a lot of video content? Is that something that you're really comfortable with? Is that the sort of content that is working really well for you? Then consider YouTube. But don't try to be in all the places at once. Maybe pick 2 channels and do them really well. A question that comes up there is, but I can be on all 5-10 social media channels if I just post the same thing everywhere. Let's not do that. That is not a winning strategy, to just post the same content to different channels. The channels work differently. They have different audiences, and also the way that channels work is quite unique. So for example, the way that you use hashtags on Instagram is very different to the way that you use hashtags on Facebook. So just copying across your Instagram post, which has 20 hashtags in it, is not the right approach for Facebook. And I can get into that a little bit deeper about what is the right kind of content for each channel. But some content can easily be shared across the channels, but some can't. So for example, with LinkedIn content, it should be a bit more corporate. It should be a bit more professional. Whereas with Instagram, that kind of content isn't going to work very well. The final point that I have to make about setting up your social media accounts is storing your login details and your passwords in a secure place, not in an Excel spreadsheet, and not in your brain. I would be a very wealthy woman if every time a client contacted me from the last 7 years to ask me the password for their social media accounts. The app that has absolutely saved my hiney a million times is 1Password. It's like $15 a month. It's encrypted, and I store absolutely every login and every password to every account there. What's really great about 1Password is that you can assign access to your team members. So they're different vaults. And if it's a junior team member, I can say, here's access to my social media vault, which has got my Facebook login. But the only person who's going to have access to our bank account vault is my business partner and I. So it allows you to share those passwords with the right people. Okay. Just the main channels that I think are going to be the most important for you as tour operators are Facebook and Instagram. Facebook is the biggest social media channel in the world, followed by YouTube, interestingly. However, a lot of travelers are on these two channels predominantly. So how do you want to go about setting up your accounts on each of these channels? With Facebook, you want to fill out that about section really well. That is your the first introduction to your brand. Then you want to update your cover and profile photos with really crisp, clear imagery. And you definitely want to add a call to action button, which is a link to your website or to TripAdvisor or any third-party sort of agents that you use, the main link so that people can find out more. With Instagram, your bio is your first impression. So really spend a lot of time thinking about making a good bio. And interestingly, the bio is the only place on Instagram where links are active. So you have one link and you need to make the most of it. I want to show you an example of a really clean and simple Instagram bio from a tour company. They've used the link to advertise their magazine. You can change that link every day. So if you are doing a post about a particular article or a particular offer or a competition, you can change that link. If you don't want to be changing the link every day, a really good option is Linktree. It's completely free and I've hyperlinked it there. And it's basically a platform that allows you to have one link that then branches off like a tree to several other links. And here's an example from Red Bull. So these are all links that are now active, I guess, in Instagram. The other option is just to create a page on your website, which is like idlo.com/Insta. And it's got all the links that I need for Instagram on my website. Does anyone use Linktree now? Where's the chat box?
No chats coming through at the moment.
Okay.
One person does. Miriam uses Linktree.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really good tip, Linktree. I think it's really an easy workaround. Okay.
What is Instagram? I don't understand it. Maybe that's one we can save for later in the conversation.
I think so. Yeah, Instagram is an interesting place. I think the important thing for you to do is if you are logging onto Instagram and it is anxiety inducing for you and you're just like, I'm in the wrong place, unfollow all of those people that are making you feel that way. All social media is curated. You need to find your tribe on social media. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit more so we can understand Facebook and Instagram. All right, the algorithm. This is actually something Anna asked me to include in the presentation, is tell us about the algorithm trends. And the first thing I want to say is please ignore the algorithm. Just forget about it. Put it out of your mind. I don't think it's going to be helpful to you to fixate on the algorithm changes. So I thought what I'd do is some do's and don'ts here. First of all, if you really understand your audience and you can talk to them face to face, you can talk to them like that on social media. And really, that's the best performing content: authentic, relatable, real content. You should be using hashtags. You should be using Instagram television, Facebook Lives, and Insta Stories. These are features that are fairly new, but very, very popular. So what has changed is that people are reading posts less. So those, individual posts is not really how people are consuming a lot of social media these days. They're loving their stories and they're loving video content. Do reply to all comments that you receive, even if it's with an emoji, just because that is how you're going to get engagement. And it's just the right thing to do from a community perspective. You need to approach social media not as a promotional tool, but as a community building tool. Like these are your people and you need to talk to them rather than trying to sell to them. Forget about likes and followers. Just forget about it. It's not relevant. There are much, much better metrics than likes and followers. For instance, have a look at how many people are saving your posts. That's really, really good insight. One of the posting strategies that we have is we give away a lot of tips, and we'll do, here are my top 5 tips for this. We'll have up to 20 people save that post for later. We are in their consideration now. So that's a really interesting metric. A like is nothing. It's a throwaway. So please don't get fixated on that. And definitely manage your expectations. Look, 5 years ago, if you created 5 years, 10 years ago, you created a social media platform and you just started posting regularly, you were going to see some really great results really quickly. It was very cheap. Organic reach was a thing that you don't now. And you could really start to, there was traction. That's not the case anymore. Facebook advertising has become quite expensive. Organic reach is all but dead. And trying to build a big following on social media now takes a very long time and a lot of effort and a lot of money. So there are no quick wins, which is why we often say that you should be doing more than social media and things that work better than social media. So for instance, I'm a huge fan in email marketing. It's cheap, it's targeted, it's personal, and it complements your social media. So just make sure you manage your expectations and don't compare yourself to other people who have been on social media for 10 years and try to compare apples with oranges. All right, now onto the don'ts. Don't get fixated on the algorithm. Please don't feel the need you need to post every day. We post when we have something to say, and we post when we have a particular goal in mind. But posting for the sake of posting is just taking up time, and people are just going to scroll past that. Do not buy followers. That is a terrible idea. Do not join any Instagram engagement pods where you each follow each other and then everyone follows everyone and then everyone unfollows everyone. Instagram hates that and they've been shutting those down, and you can find yourself shadow banned. And don't rely solely on social media. Okay. So this brings us to our core ethos here at IDLO, is that all marketing should be purpose-driven. Don't plan your posts based on a need to post today. Plan your post based on specific business goals. And we've actually written a blog post about this that I've hyperlinked into the presentation, which is if your goal is this, try that. And that is really coming up with your content for social media based on what your desired outcome is. And your desired outcome shouldn't just be that people like it. That's not a useful metric. The desired outcome might be that you drive traffic to your website. The desired outcome might be that people sign up for your lead magnet, which is like a free download. Or the desired outcome might be that they save your post so that you're top of mind and you're in that consideration set. So really approach your social media from that perspective. And if you do that, you don't have to post every day just because it's a day ending in Y. I want to share some examples now with you of some brands who are doing this really well in your space. So this is Quoney, and they're running a series on their social media at the moment called Mindful Moments, and it is my happy place. It's so nice. And it's giving their audience this moment to escape, but it's also advertising these incredible locations that they can go to when all of this craziness is said and done. And I think we can all agree that a moment of mindfulness right now is something that we're all seeking. So this is a really clever strategy from Quoney to stay in people's feed, to stay top of mind, without having anything particular that they can sell right now or promote. So it's really about tuning in to what your audience is looking for right now. So that's really, really well done. Nope. And now I thought this would be amusing, considering you're in the Northern Territory, that a lot of my examples throughout this presentation are going to be of Antarctica, just to give us a real kind of like top end to bottom end dichotomy. So you'll see lots of polar ice caps. And you can see that each of these posts has a goal in mind. So this one here is about promoting a specific offer, 15% off, and the link is in the bio. So really a call to action there with the driver for people to find out more. And then this one here is all about inspiration, and that people are staying at home at the moment. They need to stay healthy, but it's very positive to dream about the future, so that they've actually released their 21-22 itinerary dates, and you can check those out. So it's very purposeful. It's not just like, oh, here's a silly cat meme, which is fine, but that takes time for you to create, and it's good to keep it lighthearted and humorous, but it's got to lead somewhere. So otherwise you are praying and spraying, whereas you want to be really intentional with your marketing. Okay. So that's the algorithm. Now I want to talk about what to post and how to go about planning these posts. So my approach is to create content pillars. So for each of your audience segments, so that could be your domestic audience, or it could be your international audience, or it could be a younger audience versus an older audience. Think about what content is really important to them, and put it into these content pillars or 4 buckets. And then make sure when you're posting on your social media each week or each month, you are taking content that fits from each of those pillars. So at the moment, there's a campaign running, the Time to Be a Territorian campaign, which is targeted towards domestic audiences. So getting Territorians to go and explore their own backyard, since we can't have international travelers. So that is an example of a really good content pillar for you guys to focus on. Okay, I can't deal with my international audience right now. I need to emphasize my domestic one and start producing content on your social media that's going to appeal to them, and use elements of that campaign to help you. Then have a read of the blog post that we wrote, which is, if your goal is this, try that, to understand what kind of posts give you what kind of action at the end. So if you want to drive website traffic, a really quick and easy post idea is to write a blog post and then share that onto your Facebook page and say, have a read of my latest blog post. It drives traffic to your website. If you want people to save your posts to come back to later, give away some tips or tricks, some valuable information, and be sure to write in the caption, save this for later. You will not believe how many people save a post just because you tell them to. If your goal is to generate email addresses so that you can build your email list, a competition is a great idea. So this is a sort of like really intentional posting. Okay, so how do we start to tackle the fact that social media can be quite needy? Because even though I'm telling you don't need to post every day, you can't go weeks between posts. Otherwise, as I'm sure you will have realized, your engagement will drop off. So you do want to be posting regularly and you do want to be posting consistently, but how do you do that while running a business? And my favorite tactic is hero content. So I love to write, but I hate writing social media captions because I can't fit everything I want to say in one caption. That's too limiting for me. So what I do, and I'm going to show you an example and I'll come back to this slide, is I create a blog post on my website and I write everything that I want to write, and it's a long form article and it appears on my website like this one here. You only have 2 hours to spend on your business this week. What do you do? 5 ways to build your business in just 2 hours. And I really put everything into that. Then I chopped that up into 5 different posts. And here is our Instagram feed. And you can see this was actually 6 posts because I did a teaser, which I highly recommend, by the way. So here's the first one. You're introducing the get ready, guys. This is a mini series, 5 ways to build your business in under 2 hours. Look out for each installment coming every day. The next day I post tip 1. Day 2, tip 2. This was very high performing content for us. This was saved, this was shared, and this got us a lot of profile visits and links to our website. And I created it once, that's it, 1 blog post. It was so high performing, in fact, that we actually turned it into a lead magnet, which is this. So people were like, oh, this is really good. How can I, I've saved it, but like I want more. So we turned each of those 5 tips into quick play cards. And if you jump onto our website and you give us your email address, you can download these 5 cards for free. So we actually use this as a lead magnet to build our email list. So one piece of content repurposed in all different ways. So I think that that's the way to really approach your content. And that way you're not like, what am I posting tonight? Quick, cat meme. Let me find that. That's, really considerate. All right, let's go back to that slide. The kind of content that performs really well on social media is digital storytelling and behind the scenes content. Relatable, authentic, real content. Literally just pick up your phone and talk about what it looks like today out at Kakadu, and just tell a story. That works really, really well. Unpolished, unrefined, unedited is perfect content. Similar to hero content, definitely reuse, recycle, repurpose. A good way of doing this is to use an app like Trello, which I'm going to cover off in a minute. It's free. And it's a drag and drop board type project management tool. And you can create a board for your 4 or 5 content pillars, and you can start to populate topics underneath those content pillars. So say your content pillar is domestic audiences, you can go, okay, what kind of content is going to be right for Territorians, and start making a list of topics. And then create your posts in Trello. So write them there. And from there, Trello syncs with your phone and with your desktop. You can then copy the post into the social media platform. But it's there in Trello. You've got a record of it, and it's drag and drop. And so then 3 months down the line, if you want to create a similar post or you want to expand on it, it's already sitting there drafted for you. You can go in and maybe change the image, change the hashtags, change some of the caption, but you're not starting from scratch every time, because content creation takes a lot of time, so much time. So if you're going to go to the effort of creating really good content, make sure that you're going to reuse it and repurpose it. Okay, really importantly is that there is a good time to post, and it's probably best that you post during those times. Otherwise, no one's going to see your post. So the best way to figure this out is if you go to Facebook Insights and you go to posts, there's a tab that says when my fans are online. Very annoyingly, Facebook is displaying those times in Pacific time. I don't know why. That's really silly. So then you need to open up a tab on your browser, which is savvytime.com, and you can convert Pacific time to Australian Central Time or whatever your time zone is, and it will tell you. But I can cut through all of that, and I can say to you this: the best time to post is usually going to be between 7 and 9 a.m. and 7 and 10 p.m. More like 8 to 10 p.m. So in the middle of the day, people aren't supposed to be on social media, so they're not. And they're also busy doing other stuff, and then they're sleeping. So you want to hit them when your fans are online. It's really easy to do this on Instagram to find out when your fans are online. If you've got a business profile, and you just go to your insights, and then there's an audience tab, and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it will tell you for each day the best time to post. And I can see that for me it's 7 to 9 a.m. and 8 till 10 p.m. So try to stay within those windows. You can schedule posts for Facebook so that they can go out at that time. Annoyingly, any of the scheduling apps that I've tried for Instagram don't go so well. So you have to create the posts, but you actually have to go in at that time and post to Instagram. Some platforms can now offer scheduling, but the formatting goes out, and it's a trouble. Okay, so next. All right. DIY content creation apps. So there are so many amazing cheap apps that you don't need to spend a lot on professionals. However, I will say it is very, very worthwhile to at least have a bank of professionally taken photography for your business. That's really important. Invest in that probably once or twice a year. Go and spend the money and get a professional photographer to create those great images. But you can supplement that with your own photos with a few of my little hacks. So an iPhone X or an iPhone 11 or a Samsung Galaxy Pro, I think, have phenomenal cameras. So if you've got one of those devices, you can take a really good image. Then what you can do is buy a set of presets. Now these are presets, not filters, that you can use with Adobe Lightroom. It takes a little bit to install these presets on your phone, but once they're there, they're there, and they will brighten up your images, and they will make them look really, really schmick. A lot of our Instagram photos are our own photos. and we mix them up with a few of the professional shots, and it's really good because you've got the professional shots that really make your brand sing, but then the DIY photos are authentic, relatable photos, so people really like them. So not every photo has to be perfect. However, no photo should be blurry, out of focus, dodgy. So yes, you can do it yourself with just a few sort of hacks there. Adobe Lightroom is fantastic, and this is free. What I'm telling you, you buy the presets. So I bought the preset pack that I bought was called Light and Airy Photography, and it was about $30. What I recommend is maybe having a look at some presets for tourism venues. So you're taking photos of places as opposed to me, who's taking a lot of photos of people, and find a preset pack that works for you. It's about $30. Then you download Adobe Lightroom, you install those presets into your phone. Easy. This presentation that you are watching now is designed in Canva. Canva is phenomenal for design. I use Canva templates, I use Canva elements. Canva is completely free to use. We pay just so that we can have a few additional features. For example, we have our brand colors and our fonts installed in Canva so that they're right there, and I don't have to go entering my brand colors, and I can create really good artwork right in Canva. My business partner and I are not graphic designers, we're marketing strategists, but we do all of our own graphic design in Canva. Video marketing is very compelling. So you're probably going to want an app that's good for capturing and editing videos. My favorite is Filmic Pro. And InShot is really good, but often, to be honest, I just use the video on my iPhone and I take it there and I can edit it in QuickTime on my Mac. Videos do not need to be professional on social media. If you're doing web quality videos to go on your website, like, you know, to promote your brand, maybe different story. But for social media and Instagram TV, which has a shelf life, scrappy is good. People love that. Social media scheduling apps are worthwhile. I use Plan. It's 2 N's. Plan double N. It's free, and I put all my Instagram posts in Plan, and I set it to remind me at 8 p.m. at night, and at 8 p.m. I go in and I hit publish. We would be nowhere without our project management apps. I highly recommend you check out Trello. Trello or Basecamp or Asana or any of those project management apps are really good for keeping on top of your social media content. And I talked about this before. And for creating landing pages, which is really important, we love Squarespace and MailChimp. So our entire IDLO website is actually built on Squarespace, which is a website builder, DIY website builder. Our whole website cost us $0. We made it ourselves, and we paid $200 a month for a full e-commerce platform. And if you go to idlo.com, you'll see it looks very professional. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to get really schmick marketing these days, just with a bit of insight knowledge. Oops. Okay. Hashtags. What is a hashtag? Hashtags label and categorize content. So it's basically like a search functionality. And specifically on Instagram and Twitter, people follow hashtags and they search posts based on hashtags. So if you give your content a hashtag, it's going to have more chance of it being seen by an audience who then follows that hashtag. So what you want to do is be really considerate with your hashtag strategy, and you want to research your hashtags. Now, what I've included here are some specific hashtags that you guys should be using where relevant in your posts. A lot of these hashtags have got a significant amount of followers. So if you include these in your posts, those people who follow these hashtags will also see your posts. Before you use a hashtag, please go into Instagram, type in the hashtag into the search bar and see what comes up. I did a hashtag about Harry Potter, and I just came up with a hashtag and I put Potterhead or Potted Head or something like that. And what came up was not Harry Potter related, but the other pot. So you want to make sure that you're using hashtags that are relevant. You will be able to see instantly from a hashtag if this is the right space for you, or if you've ventured into some unknown territory. For example, another hashtag that I used to use was tools of the trade, right? Oh, here are some tools of the trade. No, it's tools. It's like Makita and power drills. So that's not a good hashtag. So you want to make sure that you research those. You have a maximum of 30 hashtags to use on Instagram. I recommend you use all of them. Why not? How do you come up with 30 hashtags? That's massive. So first, have a branded hashtag. So hashtag IDLO is our branded hashtag. Definitely include 2 to 3 location-based hashtags like NT Australia, Darwin, Top End, any of those. Then include some descriptive hashtags, hashtag kayaking, hashtag, trekking, any of those. Then be a bit quirky and come up with some fun hashtags. So one of the hashtags we love, we're both mums, is hashtag parenting the shit out of life, is one of our really successful hashtags, or hashtags mums with hustle. Just remember that social media is an inherently social platform, so it has to be fun. Try to maximize your Instagram hashtags. However, don't use the same hashtags on every post. That's not a good strategy. So mix up your hashtag sets. If you're going to use Plan, which is the Instagram scheduling app that I use, it has a function where you can create hashtag sets. So I have 4 or 5 different hashtag lists, and depending on what I'm posting, I'll go, okay, this is the hashtag list that I use for this content pillar. This is the hashtag list that I use for that content pillar. So it's all nice and neat, and you're not trying to come up with hashtags in the middle, in the minute. They're right there ready for you to use. Okay, hashtags on Facebook. They work very differently to hashtags on Instagram. If you're going to use a hashtag on Facebook, you will only ever use one, which is why it's a bad idea to just share your Instagram post directly over to Facebook with all the hashtags. What I like to do is I create my Instagram post, I post it, I put my hashtags in the first comment. It works the same way. And then if I want to share that post to Facebook, it gets shared without the hashtags. Hashtags on Facebook. Facebook users aren't accustomed to searching Facebook for hashtags. They work, you can do it, but it's not what they do. So that's why hashtags don't work the same way on Facebook, whereas Instagram users are used to doing that. That's natural behavior for them, whereas Facebook, they're not. If you're unsure, don't use hashtags on Facebook. That's the easy solution. I don't. I just don't. It's not required. Definitely required on Instagram. There was one day I posted 3 days in a row and had like half the comments and interaction that I normally got. And I thought I was losing my mind and that, maybe I'm not so good at marketing after all. And I'd realized 3 days in a row, I'd forgotten to add the hashtags, and it made a huge difference. So don't forget those. But we never use hashtags on Facebook, just if that helps you to make it simple. Okay. Here is some examples of good hashtag usage. Hashtag Kilimanjaro, hashtag climbing, hashtag trekking, hashtag Africa. Really, really well done, but not full of hashtags. So this is a good example on the left. And then this is what I was talking about having some fun with your social media, what to post in the middle of COVID-19 when you can't really advertise going to the Maldives. Well, it's Star Wars Day, so may the 4th be with you. Hashtag Star Wars Day, hashtag Rogue One. Why not? Those hashtags have millions of followers. So this is giving Quoney Travel the opportunity to get in front of those followers. Now, Quoney Travel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, have a huge following. So they can afford to use hashtags with a big following. But if you are a small brand, I highly recommend that you only use hashtags that have less than 500,000 followers. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in amongst that. Mix it up. Use some hashtags that have a few thousand followers, a few tens of thousand followers, and a couple of 100,000 followers, and see how that works for you. But anything over 500,000 followers, and I don't use for our brand because we're a small brand. So definitely stay under that. Okay, how are we going for time? Good. Facebook pages versus Facebook groups. I want to just quickly touch on this because there are benefits to each, and I want to give you all the information so that you can make the right decision for your business. Facebook pages are inherently business orientated. We use our public Facebook page like we used to use a Yellow Pages directory. This is our business. This is how you can contact us. These are our reviews. This is our about. It's very much the corporate side of our business. But groups, Facebook groups, they're for discussions. And so if you are interested in building a community and you want to create a conversation around a topic or an industry, a group is a much better place for that. So it's very uncommon for someone on your Facebook page to start a discussion. They can't post on the main feed. They have to, it goes on to a comment. But in a group, they can actually start a discussion, and that's really a beautiful thing. So I'll just, for us at IDLO, we barely use our Facebook page anymore. And a big reason for that is that Facebook organic reach is pretty much dead. If you want to reach people on Facebook, you're going to have to pay to do that through Facebook advertising. We found that with Instagram, we get much better engagement. So we do that. But we built a Facebook group for IDLO, and it's 250 people. These are our biggest brand ambassadors, our customers, our loyal followers, and we share so much value and so much advice in that group. And what we really love seeing is that the members of that group are starting discussions with each other, and it has become this place where people come to discuss DIYing their marketing. And it's completely free, and every time we post in that group, everyone in that group sees that post. Whereas if you post on Facebook, your organic reach is only at about 4 to 6%. So if you have 100 followers, only 4 or 5% of them are ever going to see that post, which is very, very low. Now, if your content is really engaging, video content, it's really relatable, yes, you can definitely get your organic reach up there. But you cannot knock it out of the park with every single post. It's very difficult to do that. Aim for 2 out of 6 posts to be really, really like on point. Pages have substantially more features than groups. For example, you have insights on a Facebook page, and you can also run Facebook advertising, whereas you don't have that with a Facebook group. And Facebook pages also appear in searches. So if someone is searching for a particular topic, your Facebook page will appear, but your Facebook group won't necessarily. But the benefit of the group, of course, is the additional reach that you would get. So should you create a Facebook group? That's really a choice for you to make. The example that I've been using throughout this presentation, a lot of it has been from Polar Latitudes, which is a tour company that takes expeditions out to Antarctica. Now, this is a luxury travel operator. A trip to Antarctica is tens of thousands of dollars. This is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And a lot of the clients that have gone on this trip have then gone on to write books and blogs about it. If I was Polar Latitudes, I would totally be setting up a Facebook group for past clients, past people who've been on an expedition, because this is a big thing that happened in their lives, this expedition to Antarctica. So this could be a place where they can connect with other people and share their stories and keep the narrative going. And then by nurturing those people in that Facebook group, they can become brand ambassadors, advocates, to then talk to other people about how amazing this Antarctica expedition was and that you should also go. So it keeps that conversation going with their past clients. So Facebook groups are really, really good if you want to get referrals from your existing customers. But with all social media, you can't just create a Facebook group and hope that it's going to take care of itself. You need to be very active in that group. You need to answer every question. You need to share valuable information in that group. You need to start discussions and you need to engage in those discussions. So you need to go in there and be like, okay, guys, what do we think about what's happening in the US right now with Black Lives Matters and how some of these brands are handling their marketing? Does anyone have an opinion about this? So you can't just set and forget it, unfortunately. You need to be really active. Some really good content for a Facebook group versus a Facebook page is to run a poll. Some of the best performing content in our Facebook group is when we poll our audience. It could be serious or it could be not serious. Definitely providing additional value, like resources and live videos that you're not giving away for free to your public pages, just because it's a privilege for people to be in your group. So you need to look after those people. All right. I'm seeing the chat box light up, but I'm ignoring it for now, and we'll come back to that. All right. Social media paid advertising. As I've mentioned several times throughout this webinar, unfortunately, organic reach is all but dead on Facebook and Instagram. It's very, very low. And that's because Facebook and Instagram are a business and they essentially now want you to pay to boost that reach. I want to say, though, that LinkedIn and Pinterest still have really good organic reach. So that could be a consideration for you. But like I said at the beginning of this presentation, don't just go and add Pinterest and LinkedIn on top of Facebook and Instagram. You're going to have to make some choices. Strategy is about choices. So we have pretty much done away with our public Facebook page. But Pinterest is a huge channel for us because we are DIY marketers, and Pinterest is a DIY platform. And our audience are women who run businesses from home and they love to spend time on Pinterest. That's our audience, and Pinterest is great for us. So really understanding your audience is really key to figuring that out. Please don't try to convert a cold audience with social media advertising. That's not how buyers make decisions. They don't see an ad on Facebook and go, oh yes, I will buy that today, right now. look, they may for a lipstick, but they're not going to do that for a trip of a lifetime to the Northern Territory. It's just not how people buy. So we need to take a funnel approach to Facebook advertising. Now, I could do a whole webinar just on this, but you lucky folks are going to. There's one coming up in a few weeks that's actually being delivered by Facebook. So I highly recommend that you tune into that, because it's going to show you how to design a funnel with your Facebook advertising. But really, top line, you need to start with awareness. First, they need to be aware of your brand, who you are and what you do. Then you move into the consideration phase. So they go and visit your website, or they get some sort of free brochure or a 15-minute call with a booking agent, and then they are primed for selling to. You can't just go and you are going to spend a lot of money, throwing a lot of money away trying to get a cold audience to buy from you from the first instance. So this is where landing pages on your website are really, really beneficial. And I've talked about the importance of not just being on social media. A landing page is where you can provide all that additional information to help them make that decision. So you can provide testimonials, you can provide FAQs, you can provide booking like information, important things for them to consider, pricing. All of that information is really important for them before they can go and buy. So if we were going to design a Facebook ads funnel, the first ads would be, hi, this is who we are, this is what we sell, learn more. And so then the button clicks to the landing page. On the landing page, you can say, sign up to receive a free webinar or free brochure all about why fishing in the NT is what you need to do next month. And they give you their email address, and you send them a brochure packed with information that's going to help them make that decision. And then you have their email address, so you can send them an email that's really personal, and it says, hey Mia, I noticed you downloaded this brochure. I want to know, can I help with planning your fishing trip to the NT? Here's some additional information. Do you want to pop on a 15-minute call? And that's how we sell people. We close them that way, not through Facebook advertising. Okay. Please don't boost posts. This is an absolute massive scam from Facebook. Facebook Ads Manager is the worst place on earth. It is awful to use. I'm a professional marketer and I still hate using Facebook Ads Manager. And I actually think that that's intentional, so that brands go, that's too difficult to use, I'm not using that. I will just boost the post. But boosting a post is a really bad idea because it doesn't give you audience targeting. You're not able to then go in and turn off your boost. So say you were running a campaign right now, which I saw, a pajama company was running a campaign about loose fitting pajamas, and the tagline was room to breathe. Now, this is obviously a very sensitive topic right now, but they couldn't turn that off because you can't turn off Facebook boosts. So very poorly timed. You want to be able to go and turn off your advertising at any time. If it's not working, you don't want Facebook to use the rest of your budget. You need to turn that off. So boosting posts is a bad idea. It also affects your organic reach. So Facebook says, oh, you've got money. Great. Well, if you've got money to boost posts, we're actually going to decrease the organic reach, the amount of people that we were sending your post to for free. And that is, we have tested that theory quite extensively. However, if you run ads through the awful Ads Manager platform, it doesn't affect your organic reach. Ads Manager is complicated. Hopefully this webinar that you're going to enjoy in a couple of weeks' time will start to unpack that a little bit. Experimentation is the key to paid advertising on social media. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. It's very easy to look at a brand and go, why is their advertising working and mine's not? You don't know how many times they've failed and how many times they've had to change their message or their image to get it to work. The best person to benchmark against is yourself. So what I recommend is, if you're starting to approach Facebook advertising, is start small, start really cheap. Like, do not spend more than $100 on a campaign until you figure out what it is that you're doing, because you can spend a lot of money on Facebook advertising to realize that you were doing it all wrong. And by wrong, I mean, you know, it's a bit nitpicky. You've got to find the right audience. You've got to find the right call to action. You've got to write the right caption. And then all of those variables, if you change even one little thing, could make a big difference. So what Facebook Ads Manager does allow you to do is to run split tests, which I do highly recommend. So say you're running an ad campaign, try one with this image, try this one with a video, or have a carousel of images, whereas have just one image. Or try this audience versus that audience. Maybe try a lookalike audience or versus a custom audience or something like that. Or change the messaging up a little bit. You know, create a really short Facebook ads message with just a little bit of copy versus write a story. You know, long form social media ads are performing really well. Write a whole story in your ad. So you really just want to play around with that until you find the formula that works for you. One thing that I do know is fantastic is retargeting. How that works is you install the Facebook Pixel onto your website, and then if anyone visits your website, you can then retarget them on Facebook, sending them a hey, you know, why not explore the NT? And it's sort of giving them that reminder. This is particularly really powerful for anyone who's put something in a cart and hasn't checked out. So it's really good for cart completion. So they've gone to your website, they're umming about whether to book this tour, they've put something in the cart, they've abandoned it, they jump onto Facebook 2 hours later, and there it is, saying, pick me, pick me. And we've actually found that fulfillment rates based on retargeting is really good. So that's a good way to approach Facebook advertising, because it's not to a cold audience. They've been to your website. So think about a retargeting campaign. All right, one more slide before we jump into questions. How am I going for time? Okay. I'll be quick.
We're at 1 hour now. Although the content is really good, that's why we want to push that through. Thanks, Mia. So let's do this slide, and then we'll do some Q&A after, if that's all right with you.
Sounds great. This will be in the deck. These are some good landing page examples, but we'll slip past that for now. Okay, influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is really powerful when done right. Influencers are the new celebrity endorsement brand ambassadors. Influencers have very loyal followings, and a lot of their followers trust their recommendations. They have a lot of power. And I guess one of the biggest benefits of influencers is that they are content creators. And as we've spoken about at length in this webinar, content creation takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So somebody else creating that content for you can be really, really handy, especially since influencers are fantastic at content creation. Here are my top tips. Don't choose an influencer based on how many followers they have. That's irrelevant to you. Choose an influencer based on how closely they align with your ideal customer. It's really important that you find your tribe. So if you pick the wrong influencer, you're picking the wrong audience. You know, the young girls who want to do that fashionista sort of holiday and take lots of selfies, that might not be your audience. So don't just pick an influencer based on how popular they are. We use an influencer and it looks very different to your typical influencer. She's a mum of 3 boys, hustling a business, doing a great job DIYing her marketing. And a lot of her content is like, the juggle is hard, people. And, you know, that's really powerful content for us, is that, you know, it's not all beautiful and polished. Please don't attempt influencer marketing without an agreement in place. This doesn't have to be a legal contract that you spend thousands of dollars on, but it does need to be a written agreement. You can totally write this yourself, or you can just download an influencer agreement from a platform like Found Legal. They have templated influencer agreements, which are top shelf. And then it's all there for you, and you just put in each person's name. The reason for this is that you can't assume that they know what your expectations are, and vice versa. So where influencer marketing goes wrong is that a brand is expecting something from an influencer that the influencer doesn't realize that they're expecting and doesn't deliver that, so that the brand is feeling shortchanged, or vice versa. The brand has supplied something to the influencer free of charge, expecting this amazing content, and for the influencer, that's nothing. Please also don't assume that influencers are happy to work for free. They're not. I've included this as a bit of fun, but the world's top travel influencers receive like $8,000 for a post, a single post. So yes, they're going to be really insulted if you offer them a $200 voucher in exchange for them creating, you know, 3 posts with professional imagery and so forth. Once you start DIYing your marketing, you will see it actually takes a lot of time to create really powerful content. So you're just going to end up insulting them if you try to lowball them. What I then recommend is, if you do want to use influencer marketing and it's not really something you've had a lot of experience with, is use an influencer platform. My favorites are Tribe, Trend, and Scrunch. And that's really easy to use. You go in there, you create a profile, you tell them what you're looking for, you put in your budget, and then influencers approach you and say, yeah, I'm happy to create a post for that amount of money. This is what I can bring to the table. And then it's all done for you. A lot of these platforms like Tribe, Trend, and Scrunch have influencer agreements inbuilt to the platform, so that that's all done for you. Another good way of finding an influencer is obviously just by using those hashtags on Instagram and seeing who comes up if you're using some of those popular hashtags. I like influencer marketing. It's definitely one of my go-to strategies, but I love collaboration marketing. That is, for me, the gold mine. And I think you can do a lot as a tour operator by working with another brand. No money needs to change hands. It's win-win as long as you come up with an idea that's mutual benefit. I've included this example of Shackleton, who are an apparel company who collaborated with Polar Latitudes, who do the Antarctica exhibitions. They've come up with these jackets, but they've also running a competition to send 2 people on an expedition to Antarctica free of charge. Why is this great? Well, they've doubled their reach. Shackleton is able to reach Polar Latitudes audience and vice versa. They've halved their costs. This photo shoot that they've collaborated on has now just become half the price. And they've found a way to delight their customers. So, you know, because everyone wants to win a trip to Antarctica. So I definitely would consider collaboration marketing. The way to approach collaboration marketing is through a super, super nifty platform called Collabosaurus. It is a matchmaking business for brands, similar to the influencer platform. You can jump onto Collabosaurus, create a profile, and then you can, like Tinder, swipe left or right and see whether you have a match. All right. That's it for me. Sorry, I did have a lot to cover. I'd love to take your questions. I will stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Mia. That was amazing. Lots of content And let me stop sharing. There you go. Yeah, lots of content. That was really, really helpful. Thank you. And by our high engagement, we've had around 30 people online consistently the whole time. So that tells us that you're charismatic, engaging, knowledgeable, and wise, and you're very good at sharing the experience, real life experience of your business to us. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. It's definitely something I'm very passionate about, as you can probably tell.
You can tell, and I'm sure by the audience of engagement with questions that we do think that you've got the answers for us. So that's good. Let's jump into some questions. Thank you for that. Let's do Facebook groups. It was pretty much at the start, but a really, really interesting one as well, especially in terms of tour operators. You're talking about Facebook pages versus groups. To set up a Facebook group for a tour operator, is there a way, is there a need for customers as they're planning their trip to jump in to a group like that? And is there a way to retain them even post-trip? Have you had experiences in that?
So, making it part of the customer journey, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, attracting to the group, and then I guess retention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we do. So if you sign on to our email list, you will be prompted pretty much instantaneously to go and join our Facebook group, to be part of our community. And it's completely free, this group, because we see that our conversions out of Facebook group is astronomically higher than conversions from Facebook pages, because I can really get to know those people in the group. We can have discussions, and it feels like a much more personal space. Whereas, I've got 900 followers on Instagram. I don't really know those people. Whereas the 250 people in my Facebook group, I feel like I'm starting to get to know their businesses through some of the content that I've been asking, which is share what you guys did on Valentine's Day. Show me your marketing today. And so then I'm starting to really get a feel for their business. So I reckon that that's a great strategy. I guess my concern is that you're kind of going to need a Facebook page, because you're going to want to run Facebook ads, and you also want to have the Facebook page for reviews. I'm very cautious of telling you guys to go and have a Facebook group, a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a this. So you're going to have to make those tough choices, because you can't do all the things. I'm a marketing professional and I can't keep up with it. So be really considered about what's going to make the most amount of difference for you.
And I guess if you want high engagement, you need to then engage with your audiences as well. So it's the matter of it's effective, but do I have the time and capacity to make sure that it's effective?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's jump to hashtags. There was a comment there that you said, don't use, I guess for your content pillars, don't use the same hashtags for every post. But would you say that you're using our tourism body hashtags and then using a specific location hashtag, depending on where you are, would that be kind of good baseline hashtags to use in most posts?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can have certain hashtags that you always use. Like we always use IDLO, and I always use Newcastle, because that's where I'm based, but don't use the exact same 30 hashtags. Just because you want to try to reach new people. So change it up and experiment. And though that scheduling app plan will actually tell you which is your best performing hashtag set, which is interesting.
Helpful. And so we've had a question from the start also. It was about having a personal Facebook account for your business, and people might have had that running for the last 5 to 10 years, and that's been their account for their business. Is there a way that we can transition it from personal account to a business account in your understanding?
I don't think that there is. No. Yeah, which is annoying, which is why you should set it up as a business in the first place, because a lot of people try to do that. They're like, oh, cool. All my friends, I've got 500 friends. And so that's a really good baseline to start. And Facebook has sort of said, no, we're going to not do that. So I don't believe so, no.
Last question from me before I'll chuck it to Anna. In regards to transferring your personal account across to a business account, is off the top of your head, is there some quick things that you think would be effective in being able to transfer your followers and your likes and whatnot?
Yeah, a post that says it's moving day. I'm a big girl now, and my business has expanded beyond me, and now I've got this team. Come and follow me over here. I promise it will be better. Those sorts of things. We used to have 2 Instagram accounts, one my personal Instagram account and my business partners, and we used to post different content, but it got too much. And now if you go to my personal Instagram, it will say I've moved in with my business partner, we've taken our relationship to the next level, and now I'm posting daily from here, so you can just redirect. But obviously you're going to lose people, but you don't want your personal followers to be your business followers if they're never going to buy from you. Then then you're just being fixated on the numbers, the vanity metrics. So I've got 500 followers. It doesn't matter if you've got 500 or 500,000. It only matters who's going to go on to buy from you.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I've got a few more questions about hashtags. So just a comment to start with quickly as well is the TCA hashtag, particularly hashtag RedCenterNT. When you guys use that hashtag on your pictures, you're also bringing that image to the attention of our social media team at Tourism Central Australia. And when they see an image with that hashtag, it's kind of seen as permission to repost an image on your behalf, which is a positive thing, because then all of our followers will see your page. Credit is always given when images are reposted as well. So there's always a link back to your business's Instagram page. This brings me to a question from Andrea about the dots. Sometimes on Instagram, you see these posts where there's a bit of text and then there's this ... and a few hashtags. Why do people use those dots?
Just to separate out the caption from the hashtags so that it's easy on the eyes. But I don't know why you go to that much trouble when you can just put the hashtags in the first comment. So it's literally that, because it looks quite messy to have. Yeah, that's nice. That also brings me onto reposting images. So of course, everybody has people coming on the trips that they're providing to the attractions that they have, and clients love to take pictures, and quite often they'll even tag a business and hashtag the location of the business. What are your opinions about reposting images that other people have taken, who have experienced your attraction or your tour? And also reposting images from other businesses or other sort of operators within the same region? Yeah, go for it, as long as you assign credit. And that needs to, the best practice is first tag them in the post itself. And then at the bottom of the caption, I like to put the little photo emoji, and I say photo courtesy of, and I tag them again. And really, that's all you need to do. However, if they contact you and they ask you to take it down, you must. So I've had that happen only once before. An illustrator wasn't happy with me using her illustration, and it got taken down immediately. But yeah, go for it, as long as you assign the credit.
That's really good. That's a really great tip.
Oh, and do not edit the image in any way. So don't download it, apply a Lightroom preset to it, doctor it in any way. That's not cool.
Cool. That's a really good tip. I have a kind of back to basics question. Robert asked right at the beginning of the session, what is Instagram? And I wonder if you just have a kind of a quick sort of 10-second explanation about what Instagram actually is.
Well, Instagram essentially started as a photo sharing platform, and it's still very much that. So if you look at a lot of the tour operators that I've used as an example in this presentation, they use Facebook and Instagram quite differently. For example, Polar Latitude's Instagram feed is picture perfect. Every single image is gorgeous because Instagram is that photo platform. But if you go to their Facebook page, it is a lot more blog, sharing testimonials. It's a lot more relaxed. So Instagram is a very visual platform. And because those links are really annoying, like you just can't put a link, it's very hard to share a blog or a story on Instagram. So it is very image led. But for tourism, that's great because you guys selling the dream, right? So if you've got great imagery, whether you've taken it yourself or professional, then Instagram is pretty good for that.
Awesome. So there are a few people on the chat who might be quite new to social media, or who maybe due to coronavirus imposed kind of restructuring of businesses have taken over social media from somebody who used to work with them, who was maybe more literate in social media. When it comes to finding a voice on Instagram or on Facebook, do you have any tips?
Oh yeah, that's a hard one. So again, if you go to our website, idealo.com, you'll see a blog post that we wrote about brand archetypes. And there are 12 brand archetypes as created by Carl Jung. Have a read through those archetypes and pick the one that you feel aligns the most with your brand. You're like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm a ruler brand, or I'm a sage brand. I mean, obviously we're a creator brand, we're creatives. And then that will help you find your brand voice because you're using this brand personality that fits with this particular archetype. So if I say, a creator brand, I think the brand that instantly comes to mind is Lego, right? Like you create from Lego. And if I say magician, you're going to go Disney, so those brands have very strong brand voices because everything that they do is about either creating magic or, imagination or possibility. So I think that that's a good place to start. Don't try to put on a voice that doesn't fit with you. Like, if this is your business, then it's going to be very similar to you as a person. And one of the brand archetypes is everyday guy or girl, or average guy or girl. Like that could just be your brand personality, where you're just that larrikin, fun guy. There is a Facebook account that I came across as I was researching this webinar, and they do whale watching in Sydney. And the guy, the business owner, who's also the tour operator, he's everything. He's the cook, he's the cleaner, he's the chef, he's the everything, as I'm sure you guys are. His whole social media is him just going, hey guys, let me tell you what's happening today. And it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, it's so authentic and so him that's what people buy. They want him, they want his insight. So yeah, I wouldn't try to make it into something fake or polished, or authenticity.
Yeah, I really like that idea of digital storytelling. It's really beautiful. And on Instagram there are loads of different kinds of sections of the app itself. And it might be useful just to talk about maybe the difference between an Instagram story, IGTV, and your wall.
Sure. So stories and IGTV are fairly new features, but they are having a huge adoption. They're very, very popular. I love to run experiments, and I highly recommend that you run experiments too. And I've stopped posting on my feed. For the last 2 weeks, I've posted maybe twice, and all I've done is Instagram stories. And interestingly, we've actually increased in engagement and interaction. And that is, the research is also saying the same, that Instagram stories is where it's at. That's great news, because you can be even more scrappy with Instagram stories. They have a shelf life of 24 hours. No one goes to the trouble to create a polished Instagram story. So you can really just be like, hey, this is what it looks like this morning over Darwin Harbour. Great. So Instagram stories, I definitely recommend. Make sure you include hashtags in your stories. You can do that. GIFs in your stories are also really cool. And then IGTV is Instagram trying to have a crack at YouTube, and with video marketing. IGTV is really, really performing well. So I definitely recommend videos, but IGTV is only video content. The good thing with IGTV is you create a video, you post it to IGTV, and it will post the first minute of the video to your Facebook feed as a sort of teaser. So you've got a post done, and you've also got your video saved in IGTV forever.
That's beautiful. That's really, really helpful. Great tips. I feel like we could ask you questions all day, Mia, but I'll try to wrap it up. Just a note to everybody who's listening: if you do have an Instagram handle that you'd like to share, now is a really good time just to type it in the chat. We're all related businesses. We're all operating in the Northern Territory, and it is interesting to see what our neighbours are up to. So if anybody does feel like doing that, feel free to post in the chat while I hand over to Stephen.
Well, I mean, to summarise your talk, Mia, I've got about 6 words. It is purpose-driven and not spraying and praying. Not praying and spraying with your posts. So thank you for that. That's really good nuggets for us to take away today, and it kind of is an umbrella across every slide and every piece of content that you've shared. It's make sure that you're purpose driven and make sure that you don't waste the attention span of your audience. Otherwise, they will have a negative impact on them for the future. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So next week, we've got an awesome speaker as well. Her name is Kate Carnell, and she is the Australian Small Business, let me get this right, Australian Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman. Whew. And she's coming on next week. So she'll provide an overview of key considerations of switching back on your business, how to reactivate your staff, along with further support services for specific workforce and business elements during switch on. So get on board with that one, sign up if you haven't already. Also, the week after that, we've got a guy called Nigel Collins, and he is a thought leader, he's an author, and he is a speaker that travels around all over the place encouraging businesses, and it's on the topic of Game of Inches. So it encourages businesses, no matter what sector you're in, to inch forward with achievable goals, and then in no time you'll be actually at the place where you want to be. So that's the next 2 weeks. We've got a great speaker lineup with Mia leading the charge for the next couple of weeks. So get on board with that. In the meantime, if you haven't already, it's time to complete your NTG COVID-19 safety plan checklist. It's been talked about a lot in every channel, even TV. So make sure you do have one before you open, especially in 2 days on Friday at lunchtime. Stage 3 restrictions commence, and so it's now to do that if you're looking to open up. Also, in partnership with the Australian Tourism Industry Council and WorkSafe Australia, we're offering a free COVID-19 clean practicing business module. So this is a customised tourism-specific self-assessed online module, and it aligns with the Quality Tourism Framework, which is where the accreditation falls under. So this module, we've reviewed it with NT Health, and they've even said it goes a little bit extra from what the NT standards are, which is good because once the borders open, it'll be an Australian and domestic market that we're dealing with, and the customer wants to make sure that your business is robust. So get on board with that. We'll post some links, and yeah, it's been awesome to have Mia yourself here today. Thanks for sharing. High engagement from our attendees. So content was really, really helpful. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. All right.
Awesome.
Bye everyone, and you'll have the presentation.
Thank you very much. All right. See you everybody. Same time, same place next week.